So yeah, hi everyone. Welcome to another Non-duality with Don Carlin. So yeah, non-duality does get harder to speak about in a sense of that, awakening. The sort of shift in perspective, if you could call it that, it happened 2012. It's a long time ago, and life. This is the new normal. It really is like that. So it's not something I talk about anymore, really, in discussion with anyone I know, whether awake or not awake. So, which is interesting in itself, I find. So, anyway, I think that's where talking about the event in some ways kind of is good. Like, I know there's a lot of aversion to the idea of a story, but all of this is story in a sense. So, and for me, the before and after were quite extreme. So a lot of suffering, a lot of boredom, a lot of ecstasy, struggle, and then a sudden fulfillment, because so everything that was being sought in my case, a more colourful life, or for me, I just felt like I had to make up for lost time. So there's this kind of almost like attempt to live a few lives at once, this kind of crazy trying to somehow pack it all in, because mortality seemed like so brutal, so unthinkable. So this ended that, all that struggle with, is there anything to life? Is there any afterlife? Is there any meaning to this? It just totally went, and reflection went, even thinking back went, just fulfillment in the moment, but also the seeing of stillness and everything. So just coming to rest, absolute rest where I was. So in a sense, so much of what my identity was about just fell away. The heart was open, and it was just like, bang, you're in a new life. And in a sense, that's it. It's like a rebirth in that sense. It is, because you're suddenly in touch with what you were born into, which was being in touch with this vulnerability, this openness, this spontaneity. It was suddenly that was there. That's, sort of remembering the innocence of childhood, the just being in what you're doing, and the silence even in the mind, and so suddenly that was back. The time is gone, the sense of space, because there's no inner or outer, that collapsed, which just seems so obvious now. It's hard to comment on that, because there's only the visceral feeling of weightlessness, and that makes it sound, I think the confusing thing is that it makes it sound like that you lose yourself somehow, like that's an absolute loss. And there is a degree of that as well, because the sense of ownership is gone, and you're not aware of that until it's kind of gone, in a sense. So there's just this open space, but there's still me, Dawn, living her life, and yet this isn't really who I am, and there's no replacement for identity. It's just life, which isn't to say that a plant is just as important to me as me, because that goes on, like, worries about my life can come up and fall away, but the identity isn't with that, so it's changed. So that's kind of very much in the background, and when it comes up, it falls away. So yeah, it is freedom, but not an absolute freedom. Life still has to be negotiated, but there's no one doing that, in a sense. I think the most beautiful thing of it was is just seeing the sacred in life as well. Just seeing what was never seen and what could never be imagined, the perfection and everything, which is, I think, just part of that total acceptance of everyone, and no matter what they bring, no matter how annoying someone is or whatever, like there's a seeing beyond that they're not, the personality is there, but they're not just the personality, that, you know, that's not who they truly are, but that's kind of energetically understood. It's like, so there's a kind of meeting beyond that, and there's a meeting in stillness, which goes on. So I think when you're, the intimacy is about that sort of beingness that's there, like, so when you're talking to someone, there is, that is, the intimacy is from that, as well as the connection between you and that person, which is personality based and history based and everything else. So, but it's not an answer to all of life's problems, for sure. And I mean, it's not to say that the psychology totally disappears. It can do, although it can do in the mental sphere, as in thought can stop. It'll certainly be slowed down. In my case, it stopped for a long time and it comes and goes. So, and that is just deeper in it, but nevertheless, we're conditioned beings, so patterns can play out, whether there's mind there, whether there isn't mind there. So it's not, that's why I use the word integration really just to indicate that it doesn't mean that suddenly your life will fall in step with, you know, the personality and how you are, because you've got this chance to start again, and you may just be following the old patterns without, but it'll be easier. So, you know, if you're in a job that sucks, in a relationship that sucks, or whatever it is, that may well continue without you worrying about it too much. So you can get quite lazy, and like, sometimes you'll get to a point where I just think, where I think when this is talked about, when you kind of, it is a good thing to own it when it does happen, like get to the point where you can kind of talk about it, own it, not in the sense of anybody owning anything, but just being able to, you know, when the doubts fall away, if there are doubts, or just being able to put this in your own words, even though it's ineffable. I think there is something to be said for that for a lot of people that I've talked to in one-to-ones. Certainly that's been key. But yeah, so everything that is ever thought is just in the, it's just there. It's just already there. It always was. Whatever the hell we use the word constriction or whatever. I mean, none of that makes sense. It doesn't. How we do have this visceral sense of self, that it's just mysterious. Whatever the hell that was, and you know, I guess an illusion. So this feels more natural. It just feels easier in some ways. So, you know, and I suppose one of the benefits, as you know, like the end of seeking, because that's a kind of torture, and people get stuck there, and it's like, and it's hard to know why that's even there. From where I am now, it's like, why are you bothering? You know, why do you even care about this? And in a way, you kind of, it's hard to not lose touch with that. But I know that back in the day, life, like when life is suffering, you will look at anything. I mean, I know that, like, it can be incredibly tough anyway, so it's natural that if you stumble across this, you'll think that, I mean, it certainly does help with stuff. But yeah, so yeah, the striving is out of life. Other kinds of striving, it's more like, it just feels more like a flow, like you want to do something, there's desire there, you'll follow it, but somehow, because there's more fulfillment in the moment, so it's not always just looking at the ends. There's, you know, I think you get more in step with healthier motives maybe in moving forward, or doing something that's much more in line with who you are. I think that's probably why a lot of people end up going into things like therapy or healing and stuff like that after this happens. But it doesn't necessarily turn you into a nice person or a good person. Like, I mean, personality is quite constant as well. I mean, that's my take on it anyway. It won't shift everything. There may be more openness, but it depends on what happened before. So I think, in a sense, everyone is different. Absolutely, this will manifest differently. The experience is the same. How the words used about it, it doesn't really matter if they vary that much. We kind of know what people are talking about, the same experience, whether it's Eckhart Tolle and his increase your gap between thoughts or whatever. I mean, it's still, he's not directly talking about non-duality, describing it, but it's more technique. But I have no doubt that he's talking about this, and so. I don't know. Maybe I should go on to questions. Has anybody got questions? Lee looks like a man for the questions.
I don't have a question. Yeah.
I know.
Is it natural unfolding?
Is what?
It naturally unfolds by itself after the seeing, or?
What, life naturally unfolds?
Yeah.
I suppose that's...
I mean, if you call it whatever, the realignment shift into the body-mind, whatever. Is it a natural realignment? It happens by itself?
You talking about the kind of integration afterwards, or?
Well, this is what this is, isn't it? Integration.
Well, integration, and there's non-duality and then integration, I suppose, as if there's two different things, which is very not non-dual.
I think it just unfolds by itself, from my experience.
I think though, okay.
It just leaves the function in good, bad, and indifferent.
I get that, and I did that myself, but then I realised that I was just living out patterns from before.
Yeah, I'm not flatlining. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been in that as well, but...
Have you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, so for you, it's so it's been realised for you, and I'm not going to use the non-dual speak. I can't be bothered, but
It's just that it's balanced itself out.
okay.
So I can live a full, happy life.
But along the
without all that resistance, it just comes through, doesn't it? And
okay, so the resistance has got. That's a big one. That's
it's a big thing for body mind, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's so anti what we've been told.
Yeah.
How's the mind going to cope with that? It can't, can it?
No.
It's going to freak out at some point. For most people, for me, I don't know. For most people, maybe, I don't know.
But at some point, you come up against what you realise stuff that hadn't kind of been worked on, or like sort of psychological stuff.
Well, I got into non-duality 2010, and there were some quiet years. And then like the Kundalini, the energies hit in 2021.
Right.
And everything came up. It's like, shit.
Oh, so it's
all this residual stuff that was still in the body, and that was still obviously there at some level.
Right.
It all came up.
So it came up in a Kundalini one, because that's what happened here, like.
Yeah.
So it was a Kundalini awakening that revealed to you what was going on?
No, I mean, I saw the scene in 2010, and obviously it's not difficult, is it? And then life carried on. But I was still getting very depressed and stuff.
Right.
And then, it's 2021, unexpectedly, this Kundalini hit in. I think, I think it's the beliefs coming out of, the old beliefs coming out, and that energy frees itself.
Yeah. It could be. What way did it manifest? Was it just energetic? Did you get visual stuff with it?
Oh, everything, yeah.
Did you
It was horrific, yeah.
Horrific?
It was horrific, yeah. I had 2 weeks of intense fear.
Okay.
Like, I'm certain I'm going to die, 100%. Panic attacks, everything was coming up, and then the actual event, lights and pain in the chest, and I'm talking days and days and days.
Right.
Intense energy, couldn't sleep for like 2 weeks at all.
Oh, the sleep deprivation is huge. I wonder if it is just the release of that energy, because I had months where it was just really difficult.
I went 2 weeks and didn't sleep. I actually went out to the woods with a rope. because my mind was saying, if you don't sleep, you're going to die.
Okay, right.
And the mind, it was like someone was squeezing the brain, and everything was coming up. And even, at one point, I even got on the phone to the mental hospital. Thankfully, I put the phone down. But yeah, everything came up for like 2 weeks.
So you're well on the edge. That sounds a bit like UG Krishnamurti's, like.
Yeah.
Because he was like, went through a death experience, didn't he? And all sorts of. I mean, it's bizarre, his description of it. I mean, I can't remember it that clearly now, but.
I can't remember it at all now. It seems irrelevant now in many ways, or in all ways. But it took me about a year to get over that, for it all to simmer down.
So it nearly pushed you to the edge of taking your own life.
It did push me to the edge. I took the rope. I said, if I'm going to go out to the woods, it was a summer's night, and I thought, if I don't sleep tonight, I'm hanging.
Sleep deprivation is torture.
Yeah.
I mean, it is used as a torture technique, right? So I do get it. It does push you to the end of your resources. Like,
thankfully, I put the rope up. I put the rope down. I lay down. I slept for 2 hours in it, and I was like, oh. It was just like a relief that I slept. Something in my mind clicked. But I mean, this is all experiential, obviously. But it was totally unexpected after doing non-duality 10 years earlier.
Yeah.
Wow, it was crazy. It was just weird.
You must have had a lot of trauma stuff coming up then. That's massive, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
must have done.
But you held that. So you were were you isolated then, like emotionally?
I mean, I couldn't work for weeks.
Oh,
Eventually, I had to go back to work.
Right.
I had this pain in my chest and head, and my physical eyesight has changed.
What way?
Seeing those little floaty things.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I don't notice them now, thankfully, but for the first few months, my physical eye perception changed.
Was it clearer? Was it brighter? Was there anything like that going on, or?
Yeah, it was some good. There was some positive aspects to it, but I wouldn't wish it on anybody to that extreme.
Just because of the risk? Because that was like die or. It was die one way or the other, wasn't it? Like,
yeah.
I mean.
Well, I didn't care at that point, but yeah, it took about a year.
And how are you now? Are you very stable, would you say? Or is it up and down, or?
After that, there was a crazy relationship with this woman in Latvia. We connected energetically.
Right.
That happened, but I won't go into that. But now, yeah, it's just nothing. It's just fine. It's just completely balanced out. Best I've ever felt in my life, to be honest. Even though, residual things bubble up, but it's just no problem.
Wow.
So, how can you prescribe that? It's just crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
How can you say you've had that experience with somebody and advise that? It's just...
Oh, yeah, what, it's like you wouldn't wish it on someone because of the risk, I mean, in your case, or?
Well, am I balanced and feel great now because of that experience? Or, but you can't have that experience, can you? You can't go and have it.
No, of course
it
you
just
can't.
happens to you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. It just takes you, doesn't it? And it's unthinkable. I mean, it can't be imagined anyway. It's so beyond what you...
It's... I don't know, I just wanted my life back, to be honest. I wanted to be able to hang out with my kids and go to work and go to the pub. That's all I wanted, and it was crazy.
So you couldn't do any of that? So it stopped your life?
I couldn't do anything for weeks, a couple of weeks. Then I just thought, because the bank balance was going down, I just thought I've got to go to work and I've just got to get on with this. Even though I had searing pain in the chest.
Did you get that checked out as well? Like, were you kind of
that's something else. Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Yeah. Because it's hard to know with some of that stuff. Like, some of it just feels...
Oh no, this was lights and close your eyes and blazing, blinding light.
Oh yeah, okay.
That other thing was like, I'm good now, I've been in the gym.
So no energetic stuff now then?
No, nothing at all. It's weird. I had all these tinglings and head sensations for about a year, 18 months. No, nothing.
Oh, okay.
Nothing at all. So, go figure.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing.
I mean, I suppose I'm glad it happened now, the way I feel now, but I wouldn't want to go through that. I wouldn't wish anybody to go through that.
Well, you had a tough one. mine was easier than that. It just didn't. I didn't feel like I had any kind of. I mean, apart from the sleeplessness, I didn't have any struggle afterwards. I know stuff came up later on, but even that was just. Though it was more of a shock to the system, like just seeing all the psychological stuff that hadn't been seen. But it was just, like you say, it's all kind of. I don't know. It's like.
You think you do non-duality and something would come up, or you could just brush it off, couldn't you? It's so intense. It's so. It's just too much. People say, "Oh, like witnessing and stuff," but no, it's just.
Was anybody worried about you at the time, or?
I managed to sort of get through it and like it really.
Right.
With my family.
I think the only thing I found disturbing was like, it just felt very sort of psychic-y as well, like everyone was turned inside out, and it was just, there's that kind of seeing a wee bit too clearly maybe, like it certainly seemed like that as well, that was going on. But that's it, because I guess the right hemisphere of the brain is much more switched on, so you're picking up much more of the emotional information, on an emotional level, rather than a cerebral, so,
I guess it has to come out, doesn't it? Once you start the investigation, it's got to come out.
What does?
The emotional and trauma and everything that you've experienced that we hold on to in the body unconsciously, I guess it just had to come out. But
Well, it sounds like it did and it resolved with you, but I don't think that's the case for everyone though, like,
Oh, I'm not saying it's.
Yeah,
I'm not saying I'm completely. No.
I know, but it sounds like you're more.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
No.
But if depression comes in, it's gone within seconds,
Oh, right, okay, so you regularly had depression and it's
Yeah.
gone. That's pretty good. Yeah, it doesn't seem. Depression is one thing, from all the reports, doesn't seem to survive this. Like.
It's just seen differently, isn't it? It's just seen as part of yourself. I'm not expert on concepts around this.
It was not dissimilar for me, what you're
Really?
describing there. Yeah, it was months of looking at the beams in my barn about, getting the noose over there. And
Yeah.
You got a noose as well?
No, I didn't have one, but I was dreaming about it, and that was going on for months, absolutely months. And then there was that couple of points where it was like, I'm going to end up in a psychiatric ward here.
Yeah.
Just wow, this is unbelievable terror. I'm just, phew. But somehow, like you said, I was all right. Somehow, it's like, wow, how can I be all right with the fact that this is unimaginable terror, if you like. And it sort of got to the point where it's like, whoa, this body's going to die now.
Yeah.
It got to the heart. I thought this heart's going to explode.
Yeah.
And that's it, game over. And just at that point, it just all loosened up. At the moment I'm about to die, oh, it's so sweet.
I can relate to that, definitely.
Really amazing.
Yeah.
There's something about that breaking point, isn't there? Like, there really is.
Yeah.
I mean, it can really open doors, that, can't it? And because I had that with my second Kundalini awakening, and it was quite similar. Noose was an idea that went through my mind, but I don't know how real that was, but like, you're somehow that whenever that's the psychological context coming out, like, and then suddenly experience after experience after experience, just bang, 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 bang. But the absolute bliss, like it is strange.
Just like every day, the same pattern every day of this can't be it. How can this be it? This is just misery every day. Then one day, exactly the same. Whoa. There's no owner to any of this stuff at all, and then it starts loosening.
Yeah, and the struggle's gone, isn't it? And you're just walking up a road.
It's just patterns going on.
Yeah.
Patterning. And then they sort of unravel too.
That's right.
Just and then suddenly it's, oh yeah, whatever, whatever. And it's like you said something earlier, Don, about I don't know what the big deal is about any of this. So what?
But it was. I mean, in a way. But even when it was, it wasn't. It was just. I think because it's suddenly the timeless. You're out of the story. So how can you compare that with the story? It's just a different level of functioning in a way. But like, it's not like. Story, you're not living from the, fucking hell. I mean, who gets, story comes up, doesn't it? I mean, just...
There's an expectation for me because the guy I listened to first had almost like the angels coming down, and the whole story's amazing. And I was caught in all that, thinking it was going to be something super special, and of course thinking it was going to happen to me.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that, isn't it? Because you always, I guess, because we're imitative beings, we're always trying to fit it in with what we hear. And it's a relief to let go of that, isn't it? Like, and also you can see, then you start to see as well, like it's just the same thing, but it's just
and
the emphasis seems different sometimes.
When I go back and look at some of his words now, he's saying this.
Yeah.
He's obviously saying this, but so it's like, well, what was hearing it?
Okay.
You know what I mean? It was what was hearing it that, because he's saying this.
Yeah.
It's the old adage, it can only be understood once you understand.
Exactly. There was Lee thinking he was going to have a big story and an amazing, like he was going to get enlightened and all this ridiculousness.
Yeah. That just falls away, doesn't it? It's just gone.
It's just silly, yeah. Seems silly. But at the time, of course, not. Yeah. It was the most important, like, I need to be free. I can't bear this anymore. I've got to be free. Can't bear it.
It's funny, isn't it?
Seeking like crazy, like reading everything, just any practice. I'll take it. Give it to me. I need to get out of here.
You wonder why it has to be so unbearable. Like for a lot of people, it's like that, isn't it? It's
well, we're full of garbage, aren't we? That's it. That's just the garbage in here. There's the garbage. Black.
Yeah. You wouldn't choose it, would you?
No.
You don't want to come back then? That's an option?
No. No thanks.
Yeah, me neither. Hi.
I'm curious as to how you understand your awakening, because if you had an awakening of Kundalini, taken through all 5 stages, it leads to an identification with the soul and a break of identification completely with mind and body. But you say you have no sense of individuality, that there is nothing there.
Well, there's a lot of literature in Kundalini that runs that way. I don't think it's written about quite the same way now. I don't know where you're getting your sources from, because in my experience with Kundalini, it's very individual anyway. It can awaken before awakening, it can awaken after the shift. For what reason? I mean, you can only, it seems like something that's like almost like a clearing process. I mean, that's how it's written about. But whether it is or not, I mean, who knows? I mean, so I take it you've some interest in that. Have you had Kundalini awakening then?
I followed the system of Laya Yoga through all 5 parts.
Okay.
So I can talk a little bit from experience. And the system reflects what's written in the Upanishads and the different yoga manuals. And it leads to an awareness of that individuality as being united with the divine. But people, as you say, have different experiences of Kundalini.
Yeah, because I was just sort of thinking like Bonnie Greenwell, because she did her PhD on that, and I think she took from like I don't know whether it was 200 case studies or whatever, like there's quite a lot of evidence to show like it.
Bonnie Greenwell's system does not show a full development of Kundalini, that energy system. When the Kundalini goes through its different stages, the energy system changes to reflect where a person is at.
But that's an ideology.
No, it's not an ideology. If you perceive energies, if you see them, feel them, hear them, smell them, taste them, you can look at a person's energy system and see where they're at.
Some people can, some people can't. I mean, that would be, okay, the way I would see it, it's just not clear cut. Like that for me, I have nothing ideological around it. I have no idea what it is. I know, okay, so you see it that way, and maybe you've experienced it that way, and some people do experience it like the book, like it's actually working through the chakra system in a certain way and whatever, leading to Satori or whatever. Like, it's not like that at all for me, and it's, so, I mean, I can't see how you can know. Some people say they can see it. I'm not doubting that some people can't see energy or see where somebody's at, maybe, although I've seen people who seem to have that gift get it wrong, for sure. So I don't think any of this stuff is infallible. I'm not saying that people don't have certain abilities. I mean, strange stuff happens. I do believe sometimes people do have the capacity to heal in certain situations, and psychic stuff and all that, especially around the transition time of like the shift or something. There does seem to be some kind of supernatural stuff that goes on then. But what kind of Kundalini experiences have you had then?
I'd rather not discuss on tape. That's going to go on the internet.
Oh right, no problem. Okay, but I think
my experience reflects the classical view. When you look at the yoga manuals that have the Yoga Pradipika, etc., that there is a path that most follow depending upon how far you go, and that there are certain classical experiences along the way, but there is allowance for a great deal of individual experience depending upon where a person gets to. And as they go through the stages, the energy system starts to integrate internally as well as integrating externally, and different chakras in the system brighten and expand to indicate where they are in their development, plus certain further signs come to indicate how far they've got in the system.
So can you see where my Kundalini's at?
I perceive energies, yes.
What do you perceive?
Again, this is not something you want to discuss on tape.
Okay, no problem. Well, okay, so I see it as a bit more random than that, and you know, it is interesting that once one of those processes starts off, it does seem to continue. I mean, that's been the findings, haven't it? So it can continue indefinitely and giving rise to more and more phenomenon. So, but the experiences themselves have been, you know, classified. I mean, there are typical experiences, right? So, you know.
There is large agreement between many different systems and many different yogis and yoginis as to the phenomena that arise depending upon where a person gets to in their development.
Maybe, well, maybe that's interesting. I don't know. I mean, and, you know, I mean, yeah, can't really go into it. I mean, I still get stuff.
It does come to an end when you complete a stage in the process, and then it's a question of going on to the next stage. Most of the books today only cover the Shakti stage of Kundalini development.
I just can't believe in any ideology. It's just beyond me. I can't, for me, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, I hear you, maybe I'm wrong, but for me, there's just, nobody can know this. It's unknowable. Nobody can know what this is, what that energy is, or it's only guesswork. That's how I see it.
But that's Dawn deciding that, with all respect, that nobody can know, whereas there are plenty of people out there that I've studied who do know, have had the experience.
Do you know what? If 99.99% of people thought as you, I wouldn't care. Well, maybe I would, but it'd still be, you know, I don't think that however many people, like, there's so many people talking about non-duality, I don't think that makes it any more real than if one or two people, really in my experience, we're such delusional creatures. Like, I don't think that necessarily means anything. I think all this stuff is unknowable. it just fits comfortably with me, because how the hell, I mean, it's conceptual, it's a conceptual framework at the end of the day, like,
The way
nobody
that
can know that.
framework come from, Dawn, it came from people going through the process and writing about it.
It came through people, and
Yes.
I could stop there. It came through people. We're fallible human beings, and we don't know jack shit. We don't know why we're here. Even that question may be irrelevant, probably is, but
Isn't that Dawn's opinion, though, not everyone's opinion?
is it an opinion? Is it an opinion? We don't know why we're here. Well, I suppose it is an opinion. I suppose you could put it like that.
Other people say they know why they're here.
Yeah,
because
that's true.
They
Yeah, you're right.
experience it.
Yeah.
They have a knowing.
I think you get that when people come back from a near-death experience, and there's a certainty there. So in a sense, yeah. So certain experiences there's that noetic quality. It's seen as real, and I've had that with experiences of other dimensions. It's real. It's no less real than this. You know, you could say it's more real than this, but it's definitely not less real. So, yeah. So in that sense, yeah. As far as phenomena, as far as reality is concerned, some of that stuff is real. I agree.
And people who go through the Kundalini system of Laya Yoga get to a stage where they merge back with their souls, and they understand why they're here on this earth. They understand their particular mission, purpose and direction.
Well, that's what happens in NDEs as well, doesn't it? A lot of times, that sort of.
I don't know much about those.
Well, it's just interesting because you're so on the cusp of death. You know, we're talking about like awakening and just being in that pinnacle of like the suffering's too much and you can't hang on. But if you're actually, your heart stopped, you've in cardiac arrest, the information and the sense, you know, very often there's a very distinct sense of purpose that you come back with, and certainty that we are not. I mean, certainty is, I mean, they say in psychoanalysis, don't they, certainty is like just what psychotics have. There's someone out to get me, I'm certain of that. Like, otherwise we just have doubt, you know. You think you know something, but there's a part of your brain going, you know, no, maybe I'm wrong. So, yeah. But at the same time, I sort of think, right, well, I don't believe in death, but it's still a belief. I don't believe in death. I don't know that, even though I've had experiences that suggest to me very strongly that death could not be the case. Like, but, so, I don't know.
You don't believe that you're going to physically die, or
No.
you don't believe that death is the end?
I believe that this, obviously, the physical body will, but I can't, you know, I think if you experience other dimensions, it's like, well, I mean,
But that comes with Kundalini as well. Eventually you know that life continues, because you've broken the identification with mind and body, and you know that you're a soul which goes and comes according to.
I get that. I get that. I mean, I get that, and then, but I'm not bothered that people get that or not. I mean, a lot of people who are into non-duality really hate all this stuff, don't they? I don't know, like, but yeah, I find that stuff fascinating. I don't know that it's necessarily a good thing in my view. Do I want to continue? Because I don't, you know, as spirit, yeah, but because
Unless you have completed the system and gone beyond the wheel of birth and rebirth, you will come back whether you want to or not.
I think so. I have never met. I just sort of like that sort of Nietzsche's title, that book, Human All Too Human. Like, and the best of them he met were human all too human, and I think I've never met anyone who I think like is that wow integrated. Like, really, where are these? People are, when you get to know them, are kind of fallible, right? We're all fallible. I just don't see it. It doesn't ring true for me. That's what I'm saying. It's my opinion, but.
Atheists say there's no God. Doesn't mean there isn't a God. They've
No, it
just
doesn't.
decided in their own minds that there is no God. They haven't checked.
No, of course, and that can be your pathology as well, playing out, defended in us against even looking at that, but yeah, I mean,
I agree with you. It's a very individual experience, and some people experience some things and others. But there are some classical, common experiences that everyone goes through at certain stages.
I don't believe there are any holy people. There are no holy people, like, you know.
If you've seen my socks, then you would certainly agree there are no holy people.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, yeah, I think, but yeah, and the nicest people I've met are probably the most integrated people I've met are not awake. And so I think awakening and integration are not necessarily, there's probably a correlation there. I'm sure it's a very strong correlation, but it's not always the case.
How do you differentiate, if I may ask, sorry to drone on,
Uh-huh.
the difference between what you call integration and what they call realization, oneness with reality?
Well, I'm talking about psychological integration. So someone who is fair, someone who doesn't get angry at the slightest, criticism, or, someone who is able to express themselves when they're in pain. And someone who's not undefended, emotionally open, I don't know, and they're quite, their moods aren't, you're kind of not walking in eggshells around them. I mean, that's different, so, but I think awakening tends towards that, and it sort of brings that, I mean, it can certainly increase that in people, but I think people who are high in that trait, agreeableness, are usually much more balanced than people who are awake in general. That's my finding. My research, my personal research. But, what do you think, Lee? Have you met a lot of awake people?
Yeah, a few, I guess, yeah.
Are you impressed with their level of integration?
Well, for a while, there was this, why is that not me? There was that for, that for a while.
Oh, you can't see it, can you? You just see,
Why am I not there?
but you just see peaceful person, don't you?
Mm?
You can really project it. You just see, wow, that person's really beatific. It's such bollocks, isn't it? And they look so calm, or whatever, it's weird the way we see, I mean,
there's
it's visual.
There's nothing on that side going on, is there? It's only when it's coming from me. It only is.
Yeah, okay.
But it's funny seeing how scared I used to be, and it's also a bit like what we were saying earlier. I used to go to the non-duality meetings with Tony up the road there, and I wouldn't speak to people because I didn't want to hear their version of the truth.
Okay.
I only wanted to hear it from the dude, right?
Okay, yeah, okay,
right?
yeah.
I don't want you telling me, I want the dude to tell me, right?
Right.
But then I didn't want to talk to the dude because I was too scared to talk to the dude.
Oh, no, I get that, okay, yeah.
So in this complete sort of weird space of, I'm not talking to anybody.
Well, it's intimidating when you see someone above you, isn't it?
You perceive it as they're above you, yes, of course.
So you can't have an honest conversation.
There's like the inferiority complex going on, thinking that's the enlightened dude.
Yeah.
And there's almost the superiority complex going on. No, I've seen more than you. I don't want your bullshit coming up, sort of thing. Oh,
and then that all classes, doesn't it?
It's crazy.
Yeah, the superiority and the inferiority kind of.
What a joke.
But I was.
But I see that's how I was. I was like that at work. It was exactly the same pattern that was going on at work that is now in this arena, if you like. At work, I was scared of the dude who had all the cash. But because I did quite well, I was also a bit, ooh, look at me.
Oh yeah, that's.
And those patterns just landed in this. Same stuff.
It's similar to the relationship with a narcissist then, because you perceive them as better than yourself, and it's very hard to have a normal conversation then because you feel so inferior. Like it plays out quite similar.
Yeah, I don't think there was any normal stuff or conversation going on here at all. And there isn't there either.
But I was thinking how the projection onto the one in the front, it's slightly visual as well, isn't it?
On the dude?
Yeah, and the same with the negative.
Or dude-ess.
But it is, you everybody talks about how still they look, right? And also I was sort of thinking, that stoning of the adulteress story, and Jesus says throw the first stone, and they're all gathered to throw the stones at the woman who's the adulteress, and he writes in the sand, but it doesn't tell you what he writes. But it was just interesting to take René Girard, who said that the reason he did that was so they couldn't see his eyes because they're full of hate, and if they saw hate in his eyes, they would stone the woman. Do you know what I mean? Because you just
Yeah, totally, yeah.
yeah. So if it's felt here, it's seen there, and it's just so hard. Like, I mean, that goes on still. I mean, you know, you can't really trust your senses. Like, it's the gut. I mean, the gut goes beyond that, doesn't it? Like, I think, you know. But then, the more integrated you are, of course, the more likely you're going to get interpret facial expressions correctly. They've done studies on that, so basically,
it's just more relaxed. It's just more relaxedness, like just more comfort, and just it doesn't matter who you're talking to, does it? But there was no so tight here and
fear.
only ever thinking about itself. That's all it ever did. Really, how am I going to get out of this predicament?
What about your predicaments now? Predicaments continue. Okay. That's it. Do you ever get beyond predicaments? I mean, that's one thing you don't get beyond, isn't it? Like conflict. I mean, well, not even conflict, but just life is just full of obstacles. It just is, isn't it? It's just as well. Even in this, even if you don't care about it, it's you can't square the circle in anything. I think it's Maya, isn't it?
Sort of stuff going in, like stuff going in.
Well, you didn't. No, I just mean in like you want to do this thing, that's fucked because did it. You know, like everything's difficult. Life is just difficult. Negotiating, you know, navigating your way through this. It's a miracle when you achieve anything. My goodness. Anyway, it's. I don't know. It's getting hotter in this room, isn't it?
Passion for the subject, maybe.
What in relation to what?
The passion for the subject is heating the room.
The passion for the subject, do you think? I guess with the temperature as well. Is it your passion for the subject? Is that your big thing then, the Kundalini? Is that your...
It's one thing I've experienced, and I've done other systems as well. Because
Okay.
they all have truth, and they all have a piece of the puzzle, none of them have it all. And depending upon how you approach reality will be the experiences that you have. So they're all useful, valid, and different, and contributing. They're like, the Buddha says, reality is like a diamond with many facets. And many systems approach it differently, and have different phenomena that get to the end, and have a common experience, depending on how they approach. So I think it's worthwhile to explore everything, or at least what you resonate with, because you haven't got enough time to do everything.
There must be some people who don't have any experiences and they're probably really jealous. It must be really annoying. Because it just doesn't guarantee. That initial spark is the mystery, isn't it, with Kundalini as well? Like what sets it off?
The prana sets it off.
I know, but what sets the prana off? But, but there's still a, it's not an explanation. That's almost like, saying, like brain correlates for, I don't know, experience. It doesn't tell you anything about an experience, does it? It's just prana. What does that mean? Like,
well, if you go into it
prana.
in detail, there is detailed explanations of what the prana means and what sets it off.
I think a prana would set it off. Yeah. Say off anyone's Kundalini. Okay. Anyway, we steered off from non-duality. We're talking about. Nobody's got any questions. Everybody's awake, aren't they? Is anybody not awake with questions? No. So I don't know your name at the back. What's your...
Jason.
Jason. Okay. Why do you come to meetings then still? It's not
I
like...
don't come to meetings. I avoid them like the plague.
So you're alright, okay, because...
This is a virtual reality projection of you.
Yeah.
Like ever.
Yeah, exactly. Good show,
I'm impressed.
apparently, according to my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
But do you not get to? Do you feel like is this the only thing you've been to in a while then, or?
Actually, I went to one last week. Some people that were Francis Lucille
Oh right, he was over, was he?
disciples. They made a group in Gloucester. So that's like the first one I went to since like 2010 maybe, when I went to like Gangaji in London. When I didn't have a clue what was going on.
Who's Francis Lucille?
Well, I just know because he was the teacher of Ellen Emmett and Rupert Sparrow. So I just know him through that. So it was very self-inquiry kind of stuff.
Apparently teach not knowing.
Right.
Yeah, I said that at the meeting. I said,
Yeah, forget it.
talking about knowing and not knowing. I said, it's the same thing. And she just looked at me. Oh no. I don't know. Good luck to him. But I didn't get a lot from that particular meeting.
Okay.
But no, I haven't been to meetings.
So what is it? Just because it's some, I don't know. You don't know why, you just.
This one?
Yeah.
Well, I've been texting you, haven't I? Christmas time.
Oh fuck, it was you!
It's me.
Alright, sorry. I'm sorry. Bollocks, it was you. Alright.
It just fitted in with my daughter this weekend in London.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Okay, because I remember, because it was around when Walter was coming over as well, like, I think.
Yeah, I tried to get down, but I couldn't make it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I didn't recognise you.
So I looked at the meet-up and this just fitted perfectly with this weekend. So.
Okay, right.
But I don't like meetings at all, really.
Of course. Now I get it. Now I get the way you're talking kind of goes with what I can remember the emails now. Yeah, okay. It's all coming back. Yeah. Yeah, because you're talking about the reality stuff as well, like what's real to you, like, you know, relationship and stuff as well.
I can't remember what we were talking about, but I got interested because Walter was a friend of Stephen Wingate's.
That's right.
Who was one of my friends, teachers. And that's how it all started.
Yeah, they still hang out together, I think, now and again. And then he was over for a week, wasn't he? And he was over. Walter was over in December, I think. Was it November? Something. No, it wasn't. It was January. Yeah. It was that whole thing of relationship, I suppose, because some people talk about not having a partner, and you know, I think that came up. I think that comes up with a lot of people, doesn't it? You know, the experience of, do you have a partner? Do you have kids? Do you have, you know, because a lot of people say that they don't experience it, so it's so impersonal. But I don't know. It's not like that here. I mean, I don't know. I mean, all that stuff's held energetically anyway, just because it's not in the mind, I think. Do you know, when you see someone you know, or you see family, you haven't seen them in ages. I mean, if you've got family you like, that is, which is quite rare. But I mean, it's all the emotions there, right? I don't know. I suppose it's different, isn't it?
It's just functioning, and it's better from what I can see. It's clearer. You can enjoy the moment, enjoy life more in the moment, all these concepts. It just flows better.
Yeah.
Does your family know what you went through?
No. Actually, my daughter maybe mentioned it to her. She's quite interested in spiritual things. She understands it quite well, actually. But not really, no. I just had to get on with it, really.
Sweaty.
Just got used to it, really.
So who do you share it with?
Well, I don't share it now. Well, I'm sharing it here, but it's just it's an irrelevance now. It's just an experience. It's just an experience.
But isn't there a time where you want to share it and then it just drops away?
Well, I was texting you.
I'm like, right, okay.
Maybe that was when I wanted to share it.
Okay, right.
But yeah, there is yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you do want to say, wow, what's going on? With somebody that's experienced it as well, so they can understand you.
Yeah.
And Yeah. And then that falls away.
Yeah, and then you sort of wonder.
Life goes on, you just do what you do.
That's true.
Your interests,
Are you curious about other stuff? I mean, are you curious about life in general? Do you have...
I was.
But not now.
Not before I couldn't believe it.
That was one of the questions that came up with you, actually. Because I remember... Because I was like that, and then more recently it's like really, really interested. Like, it's quite excited about
Yeah,
this.
I was before Kundalini, like manifesting and all these different things, mystical experiences. That's just gone.
All right, okay.
It's just gone.
All right.
There's nothing there.
That's a sign of real development that you've let go of that.
Well, I didn't do it, but yeah, it just happened by itself.
Maybe I'm going backwards then, because my interest in that is really big now.
To understand it, or
No, not to understand it, but just like the curiosity of what this is. Not that it's answerable. I mean, maybe it is, who knows, but certainly not for me right now. Because of those experiences, it's like, well, what is this then? And it does, are there bardo states? You know, is there something like that after? Is it like a dream state? I mean, that all kind of seems quite possible to me. And if so, is there anything you can do to prepare yourself for that? Which I doubt in a way. Sometimes it feels like you become more conscious. Like, I've noticed that in lucid dreams, seem to get more and more conscious. But then it goes back to normal. So I don't know that I believe in a development that just keeps going like that. Because sometimes in an experience of another dimension, I forget. You know, like in a dream, you forget, okay, I've got options here. This is another dimension. I know when I'm in hell or something. I was in another dimension the other night. I had 3 out-of-body experiences on Tuesday night, I think it was. But actually I did know, because there was a demon on my bed, and I felt like I was choking, so I knew I had to get back to my bed because my body was in the bed, just in case I was being killed in my sleep. Like, so I did. I was thinking about it. And that sounds very healthy, doesn't it? Sounds really sounds like I'm mental. That's alright. It's a bit mental.
and this was a dream that you had a demon.
No, it wasn't a dream.
There was a demon at the end of your bed.
It was actually Satan. I've met him before. So I was lying there, the energy came in, the Kundalini energy, but like a hailstorm, but it's like someone had an atomizing gun. So I was just blasted through every cell, and boom, I'm out of the body, somewhere else. But then when I came back, Satan was on my bed and he was talking to me, and then it was boom, the energy came out, came back, and then it was the 3rd time I was out. I was like, I don't feel right. Oh fuck, I've left my body in the bed with Satan. Maybe that's not a good idea. Somehow I managed to get back. No, it was alright. It was all normal. I switched on the light. Maybe I had some porridge. I don't know why. I don't know. I'm back to bed.
Porridge is high in silica, good for your nervous system to calm you down.
Alright, okay, I ate enough porridge. I probably ate too much porridge. Okay. Anyway. Too much porridge is probably bad for you as well, but anyway. Aaron, you don't have any non-duality questions this time?
I do. But how do you notice Satan?
He introduced himself. So that's like a Stone song, isn't it? That's not it. He told me, because he looked different from the Satan I met before. He said he was Satan. So I don't know whether he was saying, he could have been lying, he could have been another demon pretending to be Satan. It did cross my mind, because I wasn't afraid of him. I thought that I should have been, because I was afraid of the last one, because he was very, very scary. But I mean, I know it's a Christian concept, that, so I seem to see Christian dimensions. I didn't mean to say that. Christian heaven, Christian hell, sort of. So those are really.
Did he have a message?
I can't remember what he said to me. I remember what he did. Some of what he said to me the first time I met him, but not this time. It was really, really annoying. But I can't remember anything other than that. And he was being very nice to me. He was the first time, but then he turned nasty. But
Was there a difference between that experience and this experience?
no, just the same.
Mm.
That's why I'm curious about what this is.
I like Rupert Spira's point of the 6-month-old baby.
What's that?
Well, just as a 6-month-old baby, it's just non-conceptual knowing. And that's really all there is, isn't it? It's all everything else from 2 years old. I mean, how would you know anything? How would you know Kundalini? How would you know the devil?
Oh,
6
no.
months old, you don't know anything. I mean, I know this is all cliche pointers that you've heard a million times, but they're quite powerful.
But there's also those experiences where it is knowledge and it's beyond the conceptual knowledge too. Like, do you know? I mean, which is quite mysterious. You know, which I think people get more in NDs. I've had
I'm
a
no
taste of
expert,
that.
but to me, it's all imagination. The whole thing.
Well, yeah. Well, it is. But
It's the whole thing.
Yeah.
So it's just whatever. It comes
Yeah.
up and it arises and it subsides.
Yeah. But you know.
I'm not trying to downgrade your experience.
No,
or
no.
anything like that.
I know what you're saying, but
That's the sort of the road I've been down. I would look at with those things, especially after Kundalini. But we don't know anything. We can sit here and we can theorise all night long. We don't know anything.
but that's
With a
it.
6-month-old baby, it's just this, a non-conceptual.
But you're not non-conceptual, you know, as well. I mean, yeah. And the 6-month-year-old. I mean, there's. Yeah, I know what you mean.
They're all coming from wake or sleep, from this non-conceptual space. It's what we are. It's what everything is. I just think everything else is complicating it. It's interesting, yeah, at its own level. I'd rather go to the races or watch Spurs, but yeah, it doesn't really interest me anymore. No, I'm not downgrading them.
Do you?
People's
Oh, that's
interest.
right. That was another thing you mentioned, passion. Because you said, "Am I passionate?" You asked me that. Oh, you had to have passion.
Yeah,
'Cause you
I felt a certain lack of something. I can't explain it. Everything is a little bit so what.
Yeah.
for me.
Okay. But for me, okay, passions come back, and I like that. Like, it's exciting. But I know the so what as well. So nothing.
I'm down, spend the weekend in London. I'm going to enjoy it, movies, lots of different things. I'm here. There's a passion for it. There will be a passion for it.
But
It's difficult to explain something.
it's different.
Unreal. I don't know what the right word is. Unreal about it. You can enjoy it.
It is different.
Experience it fully. You really can. But it's just whatever happens, it's fine.
There is a kind of shrug that goes on. There is that sense as well. I do get that. I mean, I would say I'm passionate about certain things, but most of life,
So am I.
okay, but it is held differently. Something's different about it. I can't say what.
It's not the attachment to it.
Yeah, well, that's sort of thinking of non-attachment. Non-attachment's a
Yeah,
thing.
getting into concepts, I really, I don't know how to express it
I get the
in
so,
words.
I get the so what thing, because I have that as well. Kind of, so what?
Yeah,
I really get it.
yeah,
Yeah. And it's not that you don't care about stuff.
not at all.
It's just that, so what?
Yeah,
And I sometimes think I should feel frustrated about that, but I don't feel frustrated about it.
it's a natural. It just feels natural to be that way. I can't explain.
I'm just so excited about certain things, though. It's just new. It's really good. It's really nice to feel really engaged and stuff. I've never really had that before. It's like, feels like something's just, I don't know. It feels healthy.
Well, I think as long as there's no suffering, there's no problem, is it? Well, at the end of the day,
Well, there's that as well. I mean,
no,
that comes up.
seriously, if there's
Yeah.
no suffering, so what? Just touch, not attach, carry on, enjoy.
Is your life kind of just sort of? I mean, you're not going through a bad patch. It's just a kind of normal patch right now, is it?
Bad patch or good patch just doesn't apply. I can't explain it.
Okay.
Yeah, shit happens. Bad days at work, whatever, traffic, road rage. Yeah, so what? The body might reacts.
Right.
And I've got no inside knowledge on this, you know, but so what? So what? And you're just what you are. It's just this unknowable something.
What were you like before? Then were you very defended and
Before the
shift?
very shy. So
Really?
Me talking like this is, yeah.
I can't imagine you shy.
I was quite shy.
Huh?
Especially as a teenager. Well, like I said to you, even after looking into non-duality deeply, investigation, I had a lot of depression, there was a lot of residues in the body and mind, which have levelled themselves out, thank God.
Right.
And I'm just this. Just this. And it's not a big deal.
I know. I mean, talking about it. That's why it's a bit embarrassing talking about this.
Yeah.
I sort of think I've got to stop doing this. Like,
It's very, it's so, like, is it Jeff somebody? It's ordinary, isn't it? It's just living.
Oh, Jeff Foster? Is it?
Yeah, it's just being ordinary. That's
The natural state.
yeah, natural state. This is how it should be. This is exactly how it should be. Look at the mayhem out there. Crazy. But there we go.
I still don't think it would solve all our problems, but that's another matter, isn't it? You'll woke up.
But what's wrong with the mayhem? Nothing wrong with it. When there's no ownership, there's nothing wrong with anything that's going on. You know, it's like
You look on people on the
You know,
tube, sorry, and you look at them and
No, I
they're
know.
in so much pain, aren't they?
Understood,
Yeah,
but
yeah. No, yeah, it's fine.
it's what it is, right?
Yeah.
It's what you're saying, that
Yeah.
it's just what's happening, and that's what it is. And
But there's a freedom out there available to everybody.
yes, it is,
And it's a frustration.
but there isn't anybody out there.
Well, yeah.
There isn't anybody.
Yeah, everyone, yeah.
There isn't. So, you know, with words have now gone. Nothing to say.
Oh, yeah.
But when you're with somebody, like, you know, close to someone, is there any kind of wanting to, I don't know. I mean, is there sort of like, are you growth orientated? Are you kind of care about the other person?
Well,
People that are
I've
close-
been in a relationship for years, apart from the Latvia thing, which was God knows what that was, an energetic.
Oh, yeah, that's come
Yeah.
back to me now as well, of course.
That was totally impersonal.
Yeah, okay.
With this lady, for both of us. God knows what it was. And then it happened for 4 months, and then it ended.
It changed things for you, didn't it? Like, didn't it make you, because you left behind stuff, didn't you leave behind, didn't you leave your job and stuff? And
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's
I went to
when
that-
it- okay.
Yeah, it was so, you know, pulling this energy that I had to go to be with her.
that's like the Kundalini thing, it's just gotta do it.
Yeah.
You know, there's just no arguing with it. It's totally irrational, it feels irrational, like,
And it was all, yeah, it was just crazy.
but it was just pointless. You come back and think, what was that all about? Like, was it like that?
Yeah, and then it was just gone. And it was like, there was no lament about it at all. It was just
Right.
gone. It was
You
just
wouldn't-
finished.
You don't care if ever see her again. It's just
No, it's
boom.
not like that.
Oh, is
just-
is there some attachment there? Just a
No, there's no attachment, no, it's all personal level.
Uh-huh.
That sounds bad.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't. It's probably maybe it's the same for her. Like you said, it's impersonal.
you know, we don't communicate, but that doesn't mean that, you know, there's no wish her well. It was what it was, and it started, and it was intense, and it ended.
Did you feel like you were in love?
Oh, it was beyond. That was beyond.
Beyond
that.
all
That was
that?
on the back of the Kundalini, yeah.
Oh, okay, so
And
it was
that
just
was-
it was something
Yeah,
big. Okay,
yeah.
right, yeah, okay. That can't be sustained anyway, can it? I mean, it's just, yeah, that just sounds like all the
I can't
Kundalini.
remember really what it felt like now, to be honest.
It was probably good at the time. It probably didn't help your sleep, like, but yeah, that's I can kind of relate. I've had similar in the, you know, around that kind of energetic stuff. It's just it's nuts, isn't it? And it can make you do really weird shit, can't it? It's
just weird how it ended so quick, and there was just nothing there.
It's just interesting, anything that can get you off your tram lines. Do you know? Because we're quite habitual. I mean, some of us more than others, but like, and suddenly you're doing something totally unexpected like that, just dropping everything.
Yeah.
Because it's totally runs against all the survival impulses, doesn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then what for? Can't like bizarre. Mm. Do you feel quite okay on your own then? You don't have like, I don't know, like a too personal one.
No, the function is there, yeah. But it's just the function and saying personal, which sounds, again, that sounds detached, doesn't it? But it's better. It's better. You know, I got into non-duality in 2010. I was like years thinking, sorry, is this it?
What do you mean that?
Because there was no experiential change really. Okay, yeah, there was a slight shift, you know, see who we are and all that, you know, which isn't difficult. But like I said, I was still getting depressed and stuff. And the stuff wasn't coming out, and it was like, wow, waste of time. So there can be a frustration even after.
What's the frustration then?
That I mean, maybe there's anticipation that things are going to fall away completely. You know, you're just going to be living in bliss and blah blah blah.
So there's still stuff
No,
that
this is going back.
Oh right, okay, sorry.
This is 2010.
Okay, right.
I'm talking about the years 2010 to 2020.
Right.
That was the depression and all the functioning was. But the Kundalini seemed to change it. It's whatever. Maybe it was the end of the belief at that point. I don't know. God knows. But I didn't have this much peace after 2010.
Right.
The mind was still coming in and residues in the body and stuff.
Oh,
it went on for quite a few years.
Oh right, coming and going,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really common, isn't it? I think.
You know, you could have intense emotion, like whatever, crying, anger, and it's impersonal. But it was still, I can't remember. It still felt. It's different from this.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because it can be very impersonal, can't it? And
Yeah.
it can play out. Yeah, it can be very detached, that as well. It can feel like a dissociation. The only thing that makes me think it isn't is because it wasn't there before. You know.
It's just the mind, isn't it, struggling to conceptualise the correct experience.
What's your mind like now? Is it very slowed down?
It's fine.
Do you think about neutral things?
Neutral things.
Well, not personal. Is a lot of it impersonal, like, or?
I just think it's normal stuff.
Normal stuff,
for
okay.
functioning.
Time for a sandwich.
8:30, there's Kempton, I had a horse running, that sort of thing. You know, it's not a big deal.
Do you like thinking?
There can be a pain in the bum a little bit sometimes. You know, late at night you can't sleep. There's a lot of energy. But it's certainly different from what it was.
I think it's cool.
It's not like you have to stop worrying and stuff. about your kids or whatever.
Oh, if you've got kids, yeah, I don't have kids. I don't have to worry about that. Aaron, you look like you've just been like, you look very still. Have you got any questions? You,
Yeah, so can it be taught?
who knows? I don't think so, no. I mean, it's not a teaching anyway, so well, what's there to teach? I mean, there's nothing to actually teach. It's not a teaching. It's like, you know, it's just how you are, how this is. It's just description, isn't it? It's not describing something, trying to describe something. Quite badly in my case, but
How can they be so certain?
well, it can't be taught because it's not. I mean, it's not actually a teaching. I mean, if you're talking about a method to bring it about, I mean, somebody could do a method and maybe, who knows? I mean, weird shit happens, right? But that doesn't mean to say, you know, it's not. Doesn't mean to say that created that, because that's still in the story as well. So in the shift, you see that you're not that, you're beyond the story, so it's not, there's no one who could make the shift happen, if you know what I mean, in a sense. So
What do you mean by the story?
well, you're no longer deriving your identity from your past, because it's not, you're not this. I mean this is here and it's not here, like, but you're not the little, I mean, the whole boundary of inner and outer goes, so it's not, there's no one in here, there's no dawn entity in here, like, it's just a boundlessness, it's, and I don't know how else to describe it, it's just love, and it's boundless, and there's no, but it's not conceptual, so I mean it would have to be conceptual to be taught, right? So it's, people are just, apart from people who like Eckhart Tolle are doing, you know, teaching a method really, that's different. Increasing the gap between thoughts, I mean somebody might find that useful, it's not, you know, but it's, most people who describe this talk about it, I mean it's just, I mean, you can't make this happen, but very often it is. In the story of time, there's a lot of association with grief and suffering prior to the shift in the story of time. But glimpses are a different sort of animal, though, I think. But again, you can't teach that, but certain conditions do seem to give rise to that quite easily, certain drugs, etc., you know, but
There's so many people who do teach it.
what, sorry?
There's a lot of teachers who say that they can teach it.
Well, you have to, and with your teacher, because you meet,
Even like half of the people that Walter interviews seem to be teachers. They say they can teach it. So are they being deceptive, or are they just deluded?
well, maybe they're just so embarrassed by describing this all the time that they're selling something. I mean, it gives them something to do. I don't know. You need to talk to them. I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't know. I can't speak for them. I have no idea. Like, you know.
I mean, there seem to be two camps. The ones who say it can't be taught, and the other ones who say it can be taught. So
But what is it that can be taught? And I'm not saying that to be non-dual. I mean, really, what is there to be taught? I mean, you can mimic this. You can, try to get your experience to conform to this through meditation. So there's more inner stillness, or that the gap between thoughts. Then the mind replicates the awake mind. You know, like sometimes we get experiences like the internal state of this bit more peace, but like you can't teach no self. I mean, you can't teach that. I mean, maybe you could hypnotise yourself to believe that that's the case. I don't know. Maybe I'm hypnotised to believe that's the case. Like, but how could you teach that? I mean, it's just. I mean, it wasn't. You know, it's just.
I think it can be pointed to if somebody understands it well.
Okay, fair enough. Did you find pointers useful then? Okay, well, Jason says pointers useful. I'm wrong. Maybe, yeah, maybe.
We'll just point out that I'm changing part of our experience.
Yeah. Well, I suppose, I mean, you could read about this, but it's not a teaching. It's just reading description
No,
and
you have to
pointers.
go to your own experience, but there's something in our experience that never changes. You know, some teachers can point that very well.
Fair enough.
Some teachers, I guess, they got their own, you know, selfish ideas when they're running businesses. I don't know.
Well, it is different strokes for different folks, because the self-inquiry I know has been useful for some people, and I just think for me it was a bit of a head. It was just like head melting. Just so it's very easy for me to universalise from that. But yeah, so you might find something useful, and something might just. I mean, some people read a book, don't they, and they come across a passage by Ramana Maharshi, whoever the hell it is, and you know, I mean, there must be quite a lot of glimpses from spiritual books, and a lot of synchronicity around that. So, I mean, you hear the stories. Who knows how common that is? Like, but I don't know. So, maybe, but a lot of it's confusing as well. Though I think when it's kind of intertwined, you know, like with the spiritual.
You get too deep in concepts, you are going to be confused.
Yeah. And it all gets in.
It's the whole thing.
And then, but then also the emotions, like everything from that, it gets confused with the non-duality. It's like, for me, it's very separate. There's psychology's something different. It's got nothing to do with spirituality. You know, it's just, because, I don't know, you know.
Psychology's got its place, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it definitely has. And even after this, because I know I'm not the only, you know, there's quite a few people get stuck, don't they? You know. And I do think, although I don't know for certain, but my sense is from the people I've worked with and stuff like, is that people tend to move very, very quickly after awakening once they see those patterns. Like it's this. I mean, some people are trapped as well, so it's different. If you can get stuck in a pattern just because of, I don't know, financial issues or children, something that's messed you, so you can't, so you're a prisoner, you know. I know a client like that. I want to know where I am in the Kundalini. Where am I in the hierarchy? What level? He's not telling me. He's.
If you study enough master's material from approaches to Kundalini, you can work it out yourself. You don't need somebody to tell you. It's there.
Masters.
There's plenty of people, living and dead. So many good books out there. Hard reading, some of them, but worth the effort.
The serpent power, and
Arthur Avalon's is okay, but it's not very instructive.
Gopi Krishna. Did you like him?
He is not Kundalini based. He was originally under the Theosophist, but he abandoned it.
Oh, Gopi Krishna didn't. He wasn't a Theosophist. He was just.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Gopi
you're
Krishna,
thinking
yes,
of
I'm thinking of
Jiddu.
Krishnamurti.
Yeah.
Gopi Krishna was Kundalini, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
because he had a hard time with it, didn't he? Depressed
He did,
and.
But his explanation of it was rather different to the classical sources.
Well, it was derived a lot from the text as well. I think because there was a lot of emphasis on ethics, sort of moral behaviour, and it's weird what gets kind of all tied up with it. Like, but at least he was true with his emotional experience, because that was quite interesting. Because he was very close to the edge. I'm sure he thought about killing himself a few times. It was the brink of madness, God knows how many times. It was cool. But I think he went down that track just into the energy because every other door had been closed. I think he failed to do what he wanted to do with his life. Life didn't go the way he wanted it, and he just started meditating like crazy. And I think...
If you read the books from Swami Rama, who founded the Himalayan International Institute, you have very good descriptions there of the technique for Kundalini, of some of the stages of the experiences. There are dozens and dozens of good masters who've written about their experiences and explained it is a system that can be taught. There are stages, there are recognized phenomena, there are particular mantra for different chakras, different stages. It is definitely can be taught. But some people have spontaneous awakenings and they didn't go through a technique. It happened, Ramana Maharshi, for example. But
did he have Kundalini?
no, he explained that his experience was not Kundalini based, but from the spiritual heart on the right side of the chest. And that is a different experience.
That's the way the Sufis have it, don't they? Spiritual heart?
They work through the heart, but they work with the heart centre, the energetic heart in the centre of the chest.
Anahata?
That's different to the Ramana Maharshi's approach. We're all working with the energy system, but from different angles and different aspects.
Cool. So you got no ambition left, you two? Is that it? You're just drifting through life?
That's the Taoist approach. No ambitions, no intentions, no desires.
I've got some desires. I've got an ambition. I do have a goal, I have to say, one or two.
You say it like that, it sounds so negative, but it's not like that.
No, I would say the same.
Oh no, what does it? No, I'm not saying that. It's negative. I was just thinking. No, I'm not. I'm not at all. I'm not. I really am.
Not in that. I've got to get somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, all right.
Not at all.
No,
not at all. But this is way richer than it was before.
Yeah.
So
okay.
There's way more passion. There's way more aliveness. There's way more energy.
But there's more contentment. Is there? Just...
Yeah, because it doesn't matter how it is. I'm not wanting it to be any way other than the way it is, and that's it. It's just this is it. Fine. I'm
Things, I don't know about
quite
you.
pleased. I feel okay.
Things
For
tend,
once.
things tend to just work out
It's just It's just,
well, don't they?
It's just all doing
Do they?
whatever.
Not always, but
No,
but most of the time they do.
Oh, right,
I don't
okay.
know why. It's crazy.
I just.
Is that more recent then? Things work out. Things.
Well,
Do you get what you want?
Yeah, it's quite recent, really.
Do you ever think about what you want and it just happens and you're like, that's weird? Like that
I
happens.
don't know what I want.
Do you not?
No.
Okay. You're one
God,
free man.
I could say I've got what Lee wanted.
Okay. Right. Okay.
But it's nothing to do with how this looks
Okay.
at all.
You're happy with everything else in your
I
life.
feel alright.
Good.
You know? And sometimes it's, I feel okay. Sometimes it's a bit like you were saying, it's just,
A bit heavy.
is this, I know it's it, but, and sometimes it's like, wow, this is really okay. It's just like that okay, that I'm okay is almost, you could say, infinitely profound. But nobody's doing that. It's just sometimes, wow, it's really okay, and sometimes, yeah, it's okay.
Are you like now? Like how you right now?
It's
sitting
nice. It's nice. I'm full, I feel very full here. I feel,
Are you okay?
feel very full. I'm in love.
here? Cool.
Oh, I might start blushing because I'm saying I'm in love. It's something I might not want to say, but it's full. It's
Right, okay.
It's full.
Wow.
There's been a lot more fullness lately.
Right.
But if that isn't like this next week, fine.
Oh,
It's
it's more
not-
full, and so it's more kind of coming in because it's kind of integrating with you.
It's fuller. It's fuller.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
when we spoke a
nice.
few months ago, I think I said to you, there's obviously nothing here,
Yeah.
right? Which is still the case.
Right.
But it seems a lot fuller now than whenever that was
Oh,
back then. But
It's quite a lot of shift then.
it might not be. It's just
Yeah.
just moving around a lot because, how to say, because some of these patterns are still running.
Yeah.
Perhaps one of them fierce ones comes in,
Yeah.
and perhaps that just gets a bit flatter maybe.
Mhm.
But so what? It's not like there's an owner. It's not like there's an owner
Okay.
of it. So yeah, this is nice, but if it didn't feel this full, so what?
Okay.
It'd still be so what. It's just what's going on. I'm not wanting it to be any different than how it is.
I was just thinking, I do and I don't. I just
But we might have
just
a-
something specific came into my mind.
we might have a conversation over a drink or something, and maybe I'll say something else.
Yeah, I know it is
Yeah.
like that, and I was thinking of something that was making me laugh at the same time. But I was thinking, there are certain things like if I could change, I would fucking change. Like, did you know? But
Yeah, I put a new roof on my house. But, I mean, whatever.
Martin Thomas has no questions. What are chakras? How are your chakras?
Exploding.
Are they spinning nicely?
No,
Alright.
I don't know if chakras exist.
Alright.
I've been to loads of things. I pay attention to the chakras that they mean something. But maybe it's just something rephrased or...
I didn't think they exist, but then have you experiences and that really they're so chakra related and stuff, like, and it's like it's just weird because they sound so made up. They do sound a bit ridiculous. They do, don't they? It sounds a bit young chakras, but yeah, there's some. I don't dismiss it now. Like, it's just
Yeah, there's something.
spooky.
Yeah.
Just spooky.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the hell they are like, but.
Yeah, I've done chakra meditations and they're beautiful.
Oh really?
What's happening, I have no idea.
I just got no questions.
No, I'm just thinking about the 6-month-old baby actually. Just like,
So visual. I was thinking of newborns and the
Yeah,
wisdom in
but
their
that's-
eyes. You just know that they're seeing, like they're really just seeing everything. Well, I don't know. They're just like sages, aren't they? Little Buddhas.
well, what I was thinking of vis-a-vis the 6-month-old baby was an acorn as opposed to the actual oak tree.
Uh-huh.
It's just a stage. The 6-month-old baby is a stage. And the oak tree's a stage as well. But that doesn't make the acorn any more pure than the tree.
That's all one thing, isn't it? In a way.
Yeah, so is a 6-month-old baby just because it hasn't had any, because it's precognitive, it has had no teaching yet, it hasn't been discussed and learned to read or write or understand words or, stuff.
Differentiate itself in the mirror stage.
How do you know what that 6-month-old baby is actually experiencing, what it's feeling? I mean, you you can intuit what it's feeling because it'll let you know when it's in pain or when it's hungry.
It's funny though, like later on, like some people have NDEs, or like they remember having NDEs like when they're a couple of weeks old. I don't really understand that, like it's beyond me. It's odd too.
Okay, so I'm thinking...
Babies aren't really babies in a sense, maybe.
I'm thinking of my daughter. When my daughter was born, she had the cord wrapped around her neck, and the doctor had to put his hands in to uncord her neck.
Yeah.
So she wasn't even a day old yet, she wasn't even born, she wasn't even in the world, she was still inside, trying to get out. But my daughter grew up being freaked out if anyone touched the neck, tickle the neck, she would go,
so
get off.
It's in the body.
So yeah, so there was an awareness, there was something there.
Well, the trauma is timeless.
Yeah.
I suppose that's it, because whatever happens in 6 months, I mean, it's there now with you, like, isn't it? I suppose that's what, talking about the past in the present, isn't it? Tim Free talks about the past being an accumulation.
I mean, so the thing about the analogy of the 6-month-old baby, it's kind of, this is where the soul what thing kicks in. 6-month-old baby has got nothingness, there's everythingness, there's nothingness. It's going, well, so what? What's the point? What's the point of that analogy? What's the point of it? Why are you telling me that story?
It's just a pointer, isn't it? It's a point back. It's a sort of natural state, which is not conceptual. There's nothing wrong with the oak tree at all.
I can't remember being 6 months old.
There's nothing wrong with the oak tree and the leaves and branches, but we get caught up and we think we are the leaves and branches, sort of thing, isn't it?
Did your body remember you being 6 months old as well?
Yeah.
It's all there. Oh, sorry.
It's not actually a literal pointer, I don't think. The spiral's pointers.
Yeah.
Oh, it was powerful for me.
But do you know what? I mean, I think again, the so what's going to kick in here. It doesn't matter whether it was Spira who said it, or Freud, or Jung, or Krishnamurti, or whoever, or the guy down the pub. It doesn't matter who it was that said it. What matters is, does it work for you? Do you get something from it?
Mm-hmm.
So that the kind of name dropping doesn't really impress me. I mean, I wasn't accusing you of name dropping, by the way, but people who kind of go, well, as Confucius once said, well, it doesn't matter if Confucius said it or not. What matters is, does it work? Does it work for me here and now? Is it useful here and now? And if it is great. If it isn't, that's fine too. But it doesn't matter who said it. It doesn't matter if you said it or don't.
Well, it doesn't. I mean, it would in a way to me. I mean, it would make a difference. I would be more interested in getting to know someone or watching someone on YouTube if they say something fucking interesting. I mean, I'm not in different, but then I'm not looking. I don't know. I wouldn't. When people say interesting things, for me, it's usually psychological or philosophical, but it's not non-dual. I mean, it's just boring, isn't it? Just boring. Sitting up here, listening to Lee and Jason. Me talking about. I mean, there is no wisdom on that level, is there? Anyone who says anything about non-dual, it just seems. It's like a cheat. It's like a bit of a. It sounds wise to seekers, and it's not, because when you're a seeker, you just think these people are really wise and deep, and they're shallow as shit half of them. Like, we're all like, it's just, isn't it? It's just, that's the real so what. It's like anything that comes out your mouth is nothing and everything. It sounds so profound.
I remember being young and wanting to learn to play the guitar, and I had quite a few guitar heroes. Oh, I wish I could sound like him. I wish I could sound like them. I can't sound like any of them.
Uh-huh.
I only sound like myself. Yeah, so maybe it's the same with the kind of seeker thing. It's like you just have to be yourself rather than.
Yeah, I think we start out imitating. It's natural, and then you find your own way, don't you?
Yeah.
With anything, because if you don't do that, I mean, and then, yeah, if you're lucky, you find your own voice.
Yeah, because there are a lot of people who are invested in not letting you be who you are. not letting you become who you
Well,
are.
that's the narc thing, isn't it? The narcissist goes out of his way to make sure they eat your personality and become you, and they
It might not-
don't allow you to be
I
yourself.
don't think it's confined just to narcs. I think it's, you know, society. It's
But that's not. I mean, I suppose no one's doing it then if it's society. Oh, you mean like it? I mean, a certain job or something that you can't express yourself in. I suppose. Do you mean you have to play by the rules in certain situations?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, to a certain extent, but at least they're not malevolently going out of their way to shut you down.
Sure. Yeah.
I suppose the people you're close to, if you're able to be yourself with them, I mean, that's healing, but it's really, really disruptive, as you know, when you're, yeah, with a predator, like, so yeah, because I don't think this makes you, I mean, some people I mean, there's no such thing as finding the authentic self for someone who's a narcissist, awake or not awake, because there's no true self there anyway. It's a ghost in the machine, and it's very different from the non-dual thing. So they look empty. It's a different kind of emptiness. Nobody's interested in that. More from me. It's alright. We've got 15 minutes. Done alright, I was going to do 15 minutes, wasn't I? It's not very good as a fan, a pillow. What do you think you'd be doing now then if you were awake? Just, what would you be doing?
What, back in the the good old days? I'd just be annihilated. I'd be Friday night. What time is it?
9:45.
Yeah, I'd be 15 pints in now.
15.
Probably.
Whoa,
That's impressive.
Probably.
that's a lot of pints.
That's a lot
And
of-
probably a couple of lines of coke by now. Probably.
Wow, okay. So
Probably.
technically shit-faced.
Yeah.
Where do you store the fluid from 15 points?
Well, you know, you
It's like
always
that.
have the option of urinating in your trousers. When it wants to come out, it comes out. Have you noticed? Yeah, something like that.
Right.
Let's not look at any of this, please. Let's just keep all that down there, thank you.
Alright. I don't think I'd be here. I think I'd be gone. My next life. Sure.
What are you going to choose for next life?
What am I going to choose? Choose any of this is awful.
Yeah, what are you going to choose? What? I didn't say what you're not going to choose. Say what you are. What are you going to choose?
I don't know, but I don't know. You can't answer that. It's just because the minute you pick something, you just see all the holes in it. Like, don't you? I mean, I just think of the worst things. You just think of so many people who have it worse. I just don't want to come back. I just want to. I'll be a guardian, maybe just help people with their shit and misplay. Do that for a while anyway. Do that for a couple of 1,000 years, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah.
And whisper in their ear, "Fuck, stop it! Don't do that." Them little hints drop feathers at their feet.
Sounds like a fairy godmother doing.
No, I don't get them. Maybe that's what I'll be a fairy godmother. I get to wear nice dresses. What?
Feathery godmother.
I'll do. That's good. As long as it's fictional, that's good. You've been very quiet at the back.
Yeah, I don't have any of these things.
Oh, all right. You don't have any questions then, or you're just feeling.
Yeah, why do you say that you don't want any of this?
Any of what?
You just said, oh, you don't want any of this in the next life or something.
Oh, I just mean sort of in the abstract. If I just think about life, like because it's so uncertain. Like even though the scene of non-duality, whatever, makes things, life's more of a flow and it's more gentle, I suppose. But like it's so fraught, and it's hard, and there's pain, and there's decay, there's old age and death, and you lose your friends, you lose the people you love. Who would want that? Like, it just sounds like it's hard to see it because it is sort of like, okay, there's the beauty and the horror, but like, I mean, they're both there, aren't they? I don't think I'd want this.
You don't want to be human again.
No. I mean, who knows? I know people that say, like, they remember about food and stuff when you hear them say, oh, what about all the lovely food? Or whatever it is. Like, I don't know. Do you? I mean, I don't think it makes any difference whether you're awake or not, like, answering that question. Would you want to come back here?
I feel like I would like to be with someone else.
Who? Anyone specific?
I don't know, like, I guess you could say like, or like parts of myself. Parts of myself. It's like even this life can still turn out good.
Right.
If it's not.
Oh yeah,
it's
of
not
course.
right off yet.
Yeah, sure. And I mean,
The hope is the last demon. It's a box.
oh, but there's nothing wrong with hope's good as well. I mean, it doesn't do you any good in the non-duality, the search, I suppose. But you can't squash it. You can't get rid of it. I think you just have to accept it's there. But yeah, I suppose, would you want to come back and be someone famous?
I don't know, I think like...
What's wrong with being famous? We've discussed what's wrong with being famous.
Tony Parsons famous now.
Well, I suppose.
Yeah, I still think like, like people who are liberated, or people like that.
Yeah.
Like, don't you think that's a good life?
A good life?
Well, yeah.
Well,
I think most people want to be liberated.
Well, the inner state is like to have transformed, and okay, so there are changes and stuff, but I mean, in the story, which doesn't, I mean, you still live in a story in a sense, aren't you? Because you're going through the motions of your life. I mean, you could end up with a really horrible diagnosis, or this can happen, that can, like, I mean, just, if I was 5 years old and somebody handed me, this is what's going to happen to you, there's no way I would say, yeah, please bring it on. There's no fucking way. I would have screamed. I just went, no, like, it just seems undoable. I don't know. Do you not think so? If you saw it ahead, like, it must be an altered state if you signed up for this, but...
Well, this is what you're going to be getting.
Yeah.
You saw it up front.
Yeah, like...
Yeah.
It depends what the ending is though, doesn't it?
Does it?
Yeah, because I mean, what they're going to show you is they're showing the journey. Or how much of the journey they're showing you. Are they showing you right to the end, and what is the end?
So if it all kind of came together in a way, like at a certain point, and you've got kind of your goals, and there's a lot of things you've realised.
Right, so imagine they show you the last page first, which is, and she lived happily ever after. And you go, oh great, I'll have some of that. And you go, yeah, but that's page 100. 99 pages before that, full of shit. So you've got to get through the shit to have your happily ever after.
But I remember actually Richard Spester and I have this discussion of like, if you went on holiday and you knew you're not going to remember it, would you still want to go on holiday? Just like this.
I've been on holidays like that.
It kind of kills it, doesn't it? So, in spite of the non-duality, whatever you say about it,
Well,
it's not nice to think you
don't ask the
wouldn't
question
remember
if you don't want the answer.
I'm not saying whether I want it or don't want it. It was a discussion, and I said I would want a holiday, but I don't know. I think I might have been lying. I'm not sure. I don't partially lying.
It's like a base online. If you've got a relative whose memory is gone, should you still take them to nice places? Most people thought yes.
Yeah.
They experience a moment, even if they forget about it half an hour later.
I know, but it does take.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've got one holiday you're going to remember and one holiday you won't, and it's half the price, which one are you going to go to?
Oh,
I'm going to
yeah,
go to the one I can remember, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I've been on holidays that I wished I've forgotten as well.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Oh really?
Honeymoon.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. But it's information that it's probably be valuable in your book. You write it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go about it. Life seems to get better as time goes on.
Does it?
Yeah, except
Right.
the body's getting old now. That I don't like.
All right, so you're
But
going
I imagine the science fiction future will all the wonderful science fiction books I've read come true,
All right.
and some of them are nightmares. So I'm curious.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. What if we arrange it so we could live 1,000 years? I don't know if that's good or bad, but
1,000 years.
yeah.
Could read a lot of sci-fi in 1,000 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't answer that one. We have 5 minutes left. And ask one question. Has anybody got a non-duality question?
What is non-duality?
You haven't been listening? It's a teaching, apparently. I'm joking.
When you use the word I,
Uh-huh.
what are you referring to?
Dawn, me.
The character.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Might as well. I mean, does that make it more confusing? Like, it's just easier to talk like that. I'd rather talk the way I do in conversation, but then maybe I make an assumption you kind of heard all the non-duality talks. And I mean, it's not as if this doesn't exist as well. I mean, it does, or my life doesn't matter. I mean, it may not matter for Jason. Less, but I don't know.
Thanks. Not as very much, thank you.
But I mean, I don't know. Maybe I've just an aversion to it. But I don't really mind people say. But it's just like saying this one here or something. It just sounds a bit pretentious to me. I feel a bit wanky saying that, to be honest. So that's why. But I mean, my life matters to me. My decisions matter to me. My relationships, what I'm doing. It's just. I mean, I am this too, in a sense. It's just. There's no division here, so, you know, wake up in the morning, it's, you know, have my breakfast, got to do my whatever, you know, it's the same as it was, but just the division's gone, so it's still dawn, but it's all of it and none of it, you know, so there's no identity in that, it's just the whole, it's just mindlessness.
But is it like is it like acting where you would be using the words but not believing it?
No, I think I used to find language a bit like that when I, you know, shortly after the shift, like all of it, like just talking about my life felt very like that. And I think I just got used to it because it felt so inconsequential. Like, but I think I've got used to it so I can take it serious in a sense. But I think it's held differently than it was before. But it did used to, because I had to be in therapy when I was training as a psychotherapist. And that was after awakening. And I did feel really phony talking about stuff because it wasn't real for me at all. Like it just wasn't. And it felt a bit strange. Why am I coming out with this, you know, problem? Let me see if I can find some problems. Like, plenty of problems in our life, but that's a different matter. Like, I don't. I was only joking. Anyway, does that answer your question?
Partly.
Got 20 seconds left. 15. So.
Do you charge for time?
Oh yeah. 10p. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much.
Uh,